So, pretty much all of you might be wondering why my car looks like this now. The short answer is because I wrecked it. But nevertheless, not gonna let those setbacks set us back. I still want to build Aero for the car. So I want to start competing with the car next year. So before I hand it over to the body shop to fix this, I'm gonna mock up the splitter while I still have the car. So I did end up breaking part of the suspension. One of the lower ears on the steering knuckle actually broke clean off. It's aluminum, so I was able to replace that, and it bent the ball joint, and it twisted a little bit more than it should have in the impact. So the car is fine. It's just cosmetically not great. So bumper needs to be replaced. Fender needs to be replaced. The car is fine. It's just cosmetically not great. So bumper needs to be replaced. Fender needs to be replaced. The headlight mount in here is gonna have to be put back in place. At first I thought like this panel was gonna have to get cut out and the stitch welds drilled out and re-welded and sealed and all that, but I don't think that's gonna be necessary. I think the right body shop can fix this. Other than that, the car steers, it drives. There's no check engine light, there's no lights, anything. Only lights on the car are because there's no headlight. It just tells you check headlight system. That's obvious. And the airbag lights are on, but that's because I have buckets in the car. They've always been on. I'm one of the many that are still trying to figure out the proper resistors to get it to stay off. But other than that, the car is fine. Suspension's been fixed by me. I'll end up removing the front bumper and fender and send it to the body shop with a new fender, which I have over there. New fender liner and a new headlight and bumper. Should be fine. So moving on to what I got over here, we've got some stuff from Professional Awesome. So this is their universal splitter mount kit, or these two mounts come as a spare. They're the universal versions, and these are the mediums, which are 13 inches in length, top to bottom. And I got some 18-inch splitter rods from them that I might need to cut an inch or two off, but this is the shortest I could get. So this will work out just fine. I went ahead and got the titanium pucks for the bottom. I didn't get the fancy mounts because these are gonna be inside the bumper. So they're not gonna show. So no point in spending money on the fancy clevis when no one's ever gonna see them, and it's not that big of a deal to me. Because this is birch plywood, 3 1/4 or 3 3/4 inch. And so I got the 35 millimeter elevator bolts option from them. So they're gonna mount. They're gonna mount under the splitter to here. So you need the longer elevator bolts. And figure while we're in there making it, we might as well incorporate some splitter tunnels, some splitter diffusers. Because after watching videos and doing my research, you are leaving so much downforce on the table by not having these on your splitter, even the most basic design. And I'll show you, the ISF actually has splitter tunnels in the splash shield from the factory. I kid you not. So anyway, you know, I've been watching like Professional Awesome videos and AJ Hartman videos and, you know, various other Aero manufacturers, and you pick up so much more downforce from having these tunnels. So we're gonna position them in a way that they're like kind of halfway covering the inside of the tire, and because apparently that adds some benefit too. They have a larger version that kind of swoops. Well, it comes from here and kind of swoops in, and you know, some that even have vanes in here, which would be more efficient. But we're just gonna start with the basics for now. Got a jigsaw, got a router bits, and so we're gonna get started on building this splitter. So of course I couldn't just do anything normally. I gotta be different in my own right and do things that no one's ever done before. That's just, it's not like I gotta be different, but I just gotta think outside the box. So this isn't like a huge revelation, but I often see things like this, and you know how your brain just clicks, like that makes so much sense. Why didn't I think of that? So this idea just kind of came to me. Shout out to McNasty ISF on Instagram. Michael was kind enough, and really I can't thank this man enough. He gave me this novel carbon splitter. This is a real novel Japan front splitter for the ISF, made out of real carbon fiber. And I just had to pay for shipping from him, which was $300 and something bucks from where he lives in Kansas. But the reason why he gave it to me, or one of the main reasons, is because it is damaged right here. So it's separating. I guess there's a seam here that runs along the bottom of the main element. These splitters by themselves generate a lot of downforce to just be mounted to the bumper. A lot of companies will tell you that splitters like this, like the Alphega GT4 splitter, you should really only good for up to 150 miles per hour if they're mounted to the bumper, which I don't see myself hitting 150 on any track, especially with full aero on this car. On VIR, well, I take that back, because on VIR, the back straight, I did hit 150. So this car is capable of it, but this thing just needs to be reinforced. He had a brand new novel splitter that he was going to put on his car, which is why he was getting rid of this one. But then he ended up selling that and getting a Tom's V2 splitter. His car looks great, so you guys should go and check out his Instagram. It's a supercharged ISF with a full Tom's kit. So yeah, so this splitter is actually going to act as my air dam. So you see a lot of Time Attack and grassroots racers, they will build their splitter and they'll mount like some sheet metal with some like L-shaped brackets along the bumper to create a high pressure area. Basically, you're creating a area for the wind to go up, you know, kind of like sealing the bumper and the splitter so that the wind can hit it and go up, and then you have your high pressure here. This is going to be my air dam, and I'm going to mount it directly to the splitter, to the plywood. You know, once I get everything mocked up, and I'll have to cut channels for the splitter diffusers. I have to cut this out, so oh my god, I'll be cutting real carbon from Japan. But this is going to be mounted to the wood, like this and this will be one piece, and then the bumper So when you want to take it off, because it has those quick release mounts, you'll just set it in. Basically, the bumper will just sit in here. So this will be reinforced by the splitter, not so much by the car. It won't even really be mounted to the car. It'll just be like, I might just put some foam here to, you know, seal this part, and then maybe run, I don't know, maybe tape, like Aero tape, speed tape, or caulking or something along this edge. But I do kind of want everything to like be removable, like, or, you know, you can unbolt it. Like, I want to be able to remove this from this, even though it's going to be mounted. So I'll probably get some wood nut inserts for wood. You know, drill a hole, you tap it in, and then you got a tapped hole. You know, I don't really want to go all the way through, because I got to keep in mind the hardware is going to add weight. So I got to keep that in mind. So right now I have everything squared up. I have the splitter squared up on this piece of board. I thought, for whatever reason, I was not going to use this much of it, but so we're building this board for the street modified class in grid life, and hopefully those will apply to other series. I'll just, you know, adjust accordingly. But so that class has a 5-inch rule. Any Aero cannot be more than 5 inches from the part of the car which it's mounted from. So from the top view, the splitter element cannot be more than 5 inches away from the bumper. If you have canards, they can't be 5 inches away from the bumper, and so on. So we're gonna use this whole board, and right now everything's squared up, so I've got 12 inches of excess on each side. I've got 18 inches from this point to the end over here, because some of it will extend to the center line of the front wheels, and I'm gonna mount it to the subframe in 5 places. And this is about 6 inches, but I'm giving myself an extra inch to work with, because we are gonna have to use the router to round this off, and we'll have to shape this. So, you know, whatever we end up with, we'll just, we can, you know, always take away. So we're gonna cut away from, you know, here, as opposed to only giving ourselves 5 inches, then we have no room to work with. So I think six inches is enough. I could push it back more. I don't think it's gonna go any, you know, it's not gonna extend 18 inches back into the car, but you know, that's less cutting and less forming we have to do up here. If I can, you know, get this part shaped, and then I can just literally cut off the back, because that doesn't have to be finished. So yeah, 12 inches over here, and we've got our marks for the most part, and I'm about to cut something. So wish me luck. And also, yeah, this board is $82. Birch is not cheap, so I definitely don't have to buy another one. But the good thing about this is because I now have the tools, I can build another one for myself. I can build one for someone else. Wink, wink. You know, if you want one of these, hit me up. We'll work something out. And it doesn't have to be a ISF. You know, it can be another type of car. Just let me know. But let's get started. All right, so I'm just giving you a step-by-step of my process, because I do want the splitter to resemble the shape of the air dam. We're going to refer to the novel splitter as the air dam now, and the splitter as the plywood. I do want the splitter to take the shape of the air dam for aesthetic purposes, while also meeting the 5-inch rule. So I've just roughly traced 6 inches. I moved the splitter up 6 inches from the edge of the splitter. That's where it sits. So I traced the front edge, but obviously it changes when you get to the side. So I roughly got the side measurement, and I'm just gonna round this corner off, or, you know, try and make the same shape, and then we can just cut away as we need to stay within the rules. So same thing over here. This should be, you know, I don't have a, what's the thing called, a compass? Yeah, I don't have a compass to trace it. I should have bought one, have one in my Amazon cart, but I'll probably just go to CVS or something, or Staples. Anyway, so this is a 6 inches here. Again, giving myself more room to work with. And then we're just gonna make this one fluid line. This is as far back as I want it to go. So I've kind of created like this is the pocket it should sit in. And then this is what I'm gonna cut away right now. So making my first cuts. This is just so we can start to fit it under the car. I wanna get it close, you know, close-ish, so that we can fit it on the car. I could probably even go in here, like make my first cut right here. Because right now I'm just trying to get in the wheel, get past the tire. So for this back part, I don't care how far back it goes right now, because I'll just mark it and cut it. But I want to get as close to the tire as I can with this splitter. Just a quick update. First cuts have been made. Now I'm gonna take a measurement of the wheel well so that I can, so now I have to cut enough out of here. So I'm actually gonna come down to this line. So the bumper within the wheel well stops here, but I'm gonna leave this much material. This is gonna be my new line, so I just have to figure out how deep to come in so I can cut this out. Because right now I just want to get this under the car and mounted. Once I get it mounted and in there, like on all mounting points, then I can trim around it how I want it to be shaped. But I'm just trying to get the rough shape right now. I don't care how wide it is, how ugly it looks, it's square. I'm just trying to get enough cut out so that I can fit it under the car, past the tires, and start making my mounts. And then I can trim from there. Once it'll be fully mounted before it's fully trimmed. Okay, so we've got our basic shape. This should be able to fit under the car so we can get our mounting points. I measured 1,000,000 times. So right now, I'm just leaving a little excess here. This portion is gonna be sitting inside the wheel well, like kind of by itself. I'm just experimenting to see if that makes a difference. But right now, this is the outside of the bumper. This is the width of the tire, 10 inches or so. And we should be able to fit inside or under the car. So I've got most of the front end off. I want to show you the extent of the damage. The crash bar was not damaged. The crash beams, these are collapsible and replaceable. They were not damaged. They're intact on both sides. Only thing that was damaged on the other side was the wheel well, basically here. This has to be bent and formed back into place. And this bracket looks like it's spot welded. I don't know if you can get this one new. If you can, I'll ask the body shop to just replace this bracket, because I don't think you can bend it back in place. And there might be some, this looks like it's another framework for the fender or something that it might need also, but we'll get into all that once it goes to the body shop. So As you can see over here, what's bent, and it's already been marked up by insurance, but it was totaled, but it's neither here nor there. So yeah, it's salvaged. So this is the bracket I was talking about. It looks like it's spot welded on. It's a little ear for the headlight mount right here. I mean, it kind of looks like I could fix this, but it's this metal that's going to be hard to reform. So the wires are still good, harness is still good, none of the connectors got damaged. Okay. It's literally just this, and this. And I guess up here too. So, I mean, but all these pieces will literally, you can drill out the spot welds and replace them. So again, not for me to worry about. Body shop's gonna handle that. I'm gonna take off the fender as well. But we can start mounting or mocking up the mounts, and I'll show you what that's gonna look like. I'm gonna show you on the good side just because it's gonna make more sense. So the way these mounts work, they're a quick release. So when you pull on this lever, it releases. So in order to take advantage of that on the car, I'm gonna have, let's see, which side am I doing this? I'm gonna have the quick release as so, and then I'll literally just, you know, have a wire, a string coming out of the lower grill, and that's how I'll disconnect it. But it's gonna mount right here like so. So I'm gonna have to drill holes, and I'll use riv nuts to get it flush. The only problem I have is on this side. Let's see. Oh no. On this side, I was worried about it sitting flush. And those trans lines are kind of in the way, so I might have to clearance them. But you can get the general idea. It's gonna sit against here, and maybe I'll go a little bit lower, like there. And that's how we'll mount our splitter. That's how we'll mount the mounts. And then on the other side, same thing, but we've got a few things in the way here. The washer bottle, so I hate to delete the washer bottle. I really want to figure out a way to make it work. Maybe I could probably just take that bolt out and, no, let me try that now. Take that bolt out and then sit it flush, but then we still have the oil cooler lines protruding a bit. So I don't want to press up against them too much when I mount it, but they do move, you know? So we'll just see. Okay, so since on both sides, I'm having trouble getting it to sit flush because here it's contacting the trans lines you see down there. So it actually wants to sit like, it's not quite half an inch, it's like not quite quarter of an inch, so I guess, what is that? 5/8. Ooh. Anyway, so I'm gonna space it to sit about there, and it doesn't hit anything. Same on this side. If I let it kind of float right here, I can get away with it not being flush against the frame rail. So I'll have to get like spacers or standoffs or something. And about the splitter rods, how that's gonna work, I'm gonna basically cut them to length and mount them like somewhere back here under the headlight. Have to figure out where, drill my hole, and go through the fender liner. And there's conveniently a hole already here, so I swear it's like this was meant to work. It's like almost as if Lexus said, like, we know people are gonna wanna build onto this car. So they did race it in the VLN series, so that's saying something. But yeah, so you can mount it here. It doesn't really matter. You can go, there's even a hole right there. I can just put the rib nut in there. You know, just start with that hole. Mount it here. Yeah, it's gonna work. So this is what I mean when I say parts of this car seem like whenever I modify it, it was just made to work. Again, like I said, for the splitter rods, this is a factory hole. I'm just gonna open it up and put like an M6 nut set in there, or whatever size this accepts. I could even, actually I could nut and bolt that from the backside, or I could screw that in from the backside once I take this off. But that's a factory hole. That hole in the fender liner is a factory hole, and it works perfectly. Boom, cut your splitter rod to length. You've got a splitter mount. Look at that. It works perfectly. And these professional awesome splitter rods are made to cut to length. You know, they can't make it for everybody, so they sell them in various lengths and you just buy what you need. Same thing over here. I can probably keep my washer fluid bottle, and I probably will. Once I get this mount on, I'll just drill a hole and probably mount it that way. Same thing. I could use this hole. I can't go back here because the bottle is covering that, but I could use the same hole for the washer bottle, or just mount it to this bracket, have it come off of here, and it's gonna use that hole, that big hole at the bottom there on the fender liner. Easy as day. I also have some aluminum reinforcement, some angular rod, or angular, whatever you call this, angle aluminum, yeah. So I'm gonna be using that too to strengthen the splitter when I get there, when I get to that point. But just getting it mounted first. Got the mounts mocked up where I want them, where they need to be. I marked the holes. You can't see them, but I can, where I'm gonna drill. This is where the washer bottle mounts. I'm gonna use this hole. This is gonna be my one of the top holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where it's gonna mount. I might mount a 5th one just for more strength, but we'll see. I have that marked over here as well. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes mocked up. So we'll drill the first 4 out and go from there. Okay, so quick update. Got the splitter mounts mounted on the frame rail. This metal is really soft, obviously, because this is a crumple zone, not necessarily a crash structure, but this is made to crumple. That's why it has all these ridges in here, and it looks like an accordion on this side. It's like made to be damaged and then replaced. So it is pretty soft, but it's still metal nonetheless, still steel. So strong enough to hold a splitter on. So I just got some M8 bolts that came with the Professional Awesome kit. And this is the washer bottle bolt. Everything's lined up. So I have to get hardware. I'll get just M8 bolts. I get just the bolts and washer to mount these for a final mount. I just want to show you the nut certs. still trying to be able to mount the splitter before we test fit it. Still in the mock-up phase. As you can see, got a M8 nutsert in 4 locations. They're a little off angle, but not a big deal. Like once you start threading them in there, everything will straighten itself out. So got this one finished. Gonna move on to the next one. All right, so started on the next bracket. Something I wanted to point out, this could be helpful for people trying to do this when you're trying to mount 4 holes at 4, or I would say when you're trying to mount 2 or more holes that have to line up on a flat surface. Like you have a bracket like this and you have a surface with no holes and you're trying to make them line up. Finish your first hole to completion, meaning I have the nutsert already in here. Okay, this is already threaded in. And then what I did for this second hole, I'm using 3 drill bits to even the load, because you want to always drill a pilot hole to get things started, so you find your center, and then this drill bit is taking out the excess material. It's actually also centering the hole further because you know, I have a drill bit that's perfect for these size holes. This is a 11/32, okay? And your pilot hole can be whatever, just a small drill bit, doesn't matter. So what I did was, before I even started this second hole, I took my 11/32 drill bit, and since it centers itself in these holes already, I just started drilling the hole. I didn't finish it. I just got my center. So then I took my drill bit for the pilot hole, finished drilling through it, and then I can take out the rest of the material all the way, and then take the bracket off, and then this is your finishing hole. So now we have 2 holes finished. It's just gonna make it easier to do the rest of them. So I'll put the bolts in here, cinch them down, and then I can finish the other 2, no problem. They'll line up without any issue. All right, so I'm gonna show you this in real time. Like I was saying, we're just gonna get the center of these holes, okay? So try to do this with one hand. It's not moving, so you know that's the center. The drill bit is a perfect fit for these holes. That's how we know it's perfectly centered. So I'm gonna do this top one also. Make sure it's straight up and down. Now we got our centering hole. And to save time, you don't even need to take this off. Start your pilot hole, drill it all the way through, then go back to your centering hole, drill it through again, and then take the bracket off, and then put your final hole and riv nut. Okay, back to our pilot hole. Keep the bracket on. I've already got the center, so here we go. Okay, so it's walking. drill bit is walking, but that's fine. We can fix that. So we're gonna go back to the centering hole and fix that. Okay, here we go, centering it whole again. Oh, be careful because that can happen. So it felt like it was gonna go all the way through, so I just decided to finish it in that moment. I'm gonna do this with both hands, and then I'll come back to showing you it completely done. So got them finished up, and now I'm gonna mount brackets. Got one there. Got one there. Got one there. And y'all get the idea. That's gonna fit either way. So however you want to slice it. You know, it's not moving enough to mess this up. It's square. So that's finished. Theoretically, based on how I'm gonna mount the splitter, it's mounted. I just have to drill the holes in the wood. I just have to drill the splitter itself, get some spacers for this because I want to space it about 1/4 of an inch, and should be good to go from there. So I just want to show you mock-up of the mounts. This is how they will sit. As you can see, the holes are lined up. I just need to space them because it's still touching the trans line. So it'll sit like that far off. And it doesn't have to be perfectly square because the quick release is pivot. So it'll be fine. But we got our holes there. Sorry. And on the other side, because I want to keep the washer bottle, sorry, let me switch hands. So because I want to keep the washer bottle, that hole for the washer bottle is my 4th mount. I'll probably do a 5th one here or here, just to give it more strength, like in the middle, right there, one of those holes. I got an extra nut so it won't hurt. I'll drill another hole, and it'll just give me more strength. So yeah. Well, something just hit me. So this is the driver's side, and got all the, pretty much got the mount in place how it's gonna be. And instead of going up here where there's less leverage, let me go down here where not only is it flat, but it'll be more leverage and pretty much just stronger. It just makes more sense. So because this seam runs along here, I don't know how, where, if it gets hollow, but I know this is hollow. I know this is hollow right here. So I'm gonna go on that flat part right there, put my last M8 nut cert, Shouldn't need any more, but if I do, actually I will need more for these splitter rods, but yeah, I'm just gonna use this hole. So stand by. Actually just do it now. So I got my centering drill bit. Might just go all the way through. I don't want to overload it, or these are cheap drill bits. I don't want to get them too dull, so I'll just use as many as I can to cut the hole. So let's make our pilot hole. Got a pretty big center to start with, so the drill bit shouldn't walk this time. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this hole off and get our other nut in there. So get that pressed in and we're done. All right, things are coming together. I'm gonna show y'all mock-up, further mock-up. So we have, technically we have 5 mounting holes on this side, but this is really just to secure the washer bottle when I get to that point. And I'll just use like a longer 10 mil bolt or something. So, all these line up as so. Okay. And so, but we have to space them because of all my cooler lines. I've got to space it 1/4 of an inch. I could probably get away with 1/4 of an inch, but I'm gonna try to get a more exact measurement. So I just basically need spacers to go in between here. And so this mount can stand off of the, like the name suggests, with standoffs, stand off of the frame rail a little bit and not interfere with the lines. So I have to order those, but I mean, we're pretty much, I could actually mount this now and mount the splitter, but I don't mind waiting. Yeah, I don't mind waiting. I want to get these like mounted in place, like final, before I start mounting the underside. Like I want to make sure the mount, at least this mount, is final or is finished. Then I finish the rear mount, and then the splitter rods will go on as additional mounts, but they don't, it doesn't really matter like where they're placed. They can just kind of go anywhere, to an extent. So yeah, we're probably gonna stop here. I think I've reached a good stopping point. And I'll get some parts ordered, and then we'll come back and tackle this in part 2. Oh yeah, so part 2 will probably, so you can kind of get a rough guesstimation as to how it's gonna look when it's finished. And if you're saying to yourself, oh man, this shit is gonna be badass, you're right, it is. But there's the basic shape. We just gotta perfect it. So yeah, I didn't have a pencil, so I had to use a permanent marker, but it doesn't matter. It's getting cut up and painted anyway. But you can see the the bumper sitting inside the novel lip, which is now my air dam. And with the additional splitter, like, this thing is gonna make so much downforce in the front. I'm actually concerned with everything that I have planned for the front, that the downforce might be too much, but because I'm gonna be using canards, I'm gonna have the splitter diffusers. My hood is vented, so the front's gonna make a lot of downforce. And I'm going to also gonna be opening up the side air vents. You can't really see it, but I have a hole cut out in the fender liner there to make the side vents functional. I did that a while back. So that's, it's gonna add downforce, but it's gonna probably, it will reduce drag. It'll just make it more efficient, and it'll create less turbulent air down the side of the car. Oh, and this is also getting side plates from either RS Future or AJ Hartman. I haven't decided. I'm gonna look at some other stuff too. But so yeah, there's gonna be a lot going on in the front. But shit's gonna be crazy. All right, stand by. Part 2 coming soon.